Hello everyone, this is Ben from Vgblaster. I am back as promised with my deck profile for my Lianorn deck. Lianorn's a really fun deck if you're familiar with Neo Nectar aesthetically and kind of like the theme of like having big powered rear guards, swinging for big attacks, kind of playstyle. If you're used to that, then you'll fit quite comfortably into this deck. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's definitely a tier 2-ish deck. It has a real resource problem, and it's just like a solid 3 attack deck for now until next set. So once again, I'd say with Jiva, really good start, really fun kind of core, but it just needs a bit more in future support, which it will get. So looking forward to that. So let's jump into the deck profile for our starters. We are specifically running Rower as the grade 0 because we are running the grade 1 Rower as part of the ride line. So the grade 1 Rower says when this unit is placed by riding the grade 0 one, you may call a plant token to back row center rear guard. So yeah, we run this. I'll go through it in a sec when we get to Lianorn, but we run this to mitigate like blasting a load of soul out really early. So for the grade 2, I run the grade 2 Lianorn card, but you can run the grade 2 Rower. The grade 2 Rower would retire this plant token and call you 2 more. But the plant token isn't necessary. You're only using this ride line, so you get a free booster that's there, and then you probably replace it later on in the game or something like that. But it's just there in case you need it. You don't draw as many grade 1s as you need, and it lets you keep soul as opposed to the full Troudek Lianorn ride line. So the grade 2 says when this unit is rode upon by a card with Lianorn in its card name, you may Soul Blast 1, choose a grade 1 from your drop zone and call it to R. So you probably drop 1 as part of your ride line knowing you have this, and then call it out for a Soul Blast 1, which is pretty good. And obviously we're going to be running Grand March of the Full Bloom Lianorn. Act Vangaurd once per turn, Cat Blast 1, draw a card, and then choose a card from your hand and call it to rear guard or discard it. Ideally going to be calling it to rear guard. Ideally you usually have a card in your hand you're intending to call that turn anyway. So you Cat Blast 1, draw a card, call that card out anyway. Pretty good. Its main ability is also when this unit attacks, Soul Blast 1, discard a card from hand, and then boost this unit with all your back row stud units that can boost. So you can't just call anything in and this force it to boost. It has to have the boost ability, and if you boosted with 3 or more, this unit gets drive +1 at the end of that battle, and at the end of that battle choose 2 of your back row rear guards and stand them. So you boost for free and then stand the 2 on the left or the right at the end, so your other 2 columns still get full attacks. Really, really fun, gets triple drive. Obviously it bounces out because you discard a card for its ability, but you draw a card off its first ability normally. So usually, yeah, you're kind of keeping a decent advantage, getting triple drive, swinging massively. You can really overpower your opponent if you just keep getting that and hitting triggers on your triple drives. It's really strong. So the reason we run the Rower ride line is if you run the normal Lianorn ride line, when you ride on the grade 1, it calls itself out, so you've lost a soul there. When you ride your grade 2, you Soul Blast for that ability, so you're down to that. So you ride your grade 3, you only have 1 soul. So you're on Lianorn, you're going to be using Lianorn's effect, right? Now you have no soul. So there are ways of soul charging in this deck and putting a card's hand into soul, but not a great deal. So if you don't manage to draw into them early, on your second grade 3 turn, you might not have, or you haven't, you don't draw up Persona Ride or something like that. It can happen, I know it's unlikely, but there's other cards in the deck that use Soul Blast as well, so it's always nice to have extra soul. So we run this ride line, so we always have, so you're gonna ride this, you're gonna get your plant token, you're gonna ride your grade 2 and Soul Blast 1, then you go to grade 3 and you still have 2 soul. So yeah, so you lose a bit of power on this booster, so it's only 5k instead of a 13, but the extra soul means you're more likely to consistently use Lianorn and some other cards. So yeah, that's why we use it. In the next set, when you get a bit more kind of easy soul charging, you can make use of the full ride line again. But yeah, for now we're using Rower. Grade 3s in the main deck, we're running 3 copies of Lianorn for a million reasons. Persona power, obviously. Riding grade 3s gives us more soul, fantastic. So yeah, and obviously the draw, the Persona Ride, everything like that. So pretty self-explanatory. And next I run 2 copies of Clapping Dragon. Some people run this at 3, but I've only got 1 Troudek so far, so I only have 2. I think 2's fine. When this unit is placed on front or rear guard circle from hand, specifically, if your back row has 3 or more units, can't pass 1, draw a card, and if your Vanguard is graded 3 or greater, this unit your opponent's Vanguard, is graded 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 1000 power until the end of turn. Swings big, really good. Draws you an extra card. If you only have one counterblast, this is preferably to use over the Lianorn one, because you don't have to call a card or discard it. And usually you do have a full back row. You can even just like pull something back, call it, and then push it forward if it's a grade 2 or something like that. But yeah, unless you're like really against like something that's against like retiring a lot, which there's not massive amounts of like full board wipes in standard, unless you're against Shaman King, or you're against Baron Magnus, which will put your whole soul into your field, which you kind of mind because you'll get the soul, but it's frustrating. But yeah, you usually have a full back row, so this card's conditions are usually pretty easy to meet. Next, moving on to grade 2s, I run 4 copies of Creed Assault. So this unit, continuous, if your rearguard did not stand by card effect this turn, this card can't attack. That's never going to be a problem unless you physically can't use Lianorn, in which case you're in a bad place anyway. But yeah, you're always attacking with Lianorn first because you need the boosters to be stood to boost with them, then they restand at the end of battle so they can be used anyway, and then obviously you're going to want a triple drive on your side columns. So you're always, pretty much, as long as you're using Lianorn, going to be meeting these conditions, and then during the battle this unit attacked the Vanguard, this unit gets plus 1000 power. So he's a 20k by himself. There's a lot of 13k boosters in this deck, so he's usually swinging for 33, which is great. And then if you Persona ride 43, and then obviously you've got a triple drive, triggers on top of that, he can get massive basically. Really hard to defend, really hard to deal with, really good. Next for grade 2s, I run 1 copy of Flutter Dragon. Now this should be Maple, or any other card you kind of want. You can use there's a grade 2, I forgot its name, it's a Neonect looking unit. It's like when placed, if you have no soul charge 2, pretty good, you can place that instead. If you also don't have Maples like me, because Maples are expensive, and I did have one and sold it because I didn't think I'd need it. So yeah, keep your cards, kids. But yeah, Flutter Dragon is when your unit boosts a Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2k until the end of that battle. So if you boost with 3 units, it gets plus 6, 16. Boosted is 29, which is just over a magic number. So pretty good. Like I say, but I'm going to try and get hold of a Maple and replace this. But for now, this is what it is. And finally, 1 copy of Tearful Malice. Sometimes you can really have a lot of options in your hand and ways of calling out grade 1s or other things. So this card is play this card by retiring 2 rear guards, and then draw a card, put this card into soul, and countercharge 1. So really good for getting your resources back. You can up this if you want. I think it's fine at 1 for now because you don't always have the conditions where you're going to happily retire 2. A lot of the time you do, but you don't always. So 1's fine. If you want to bump up to 2 instead of the Flutter Dragon or knock your grade 1 countdown, that's fine. But yeah, Tearful Malice is quite good in this deck. So next, we run 4 copies of Performing Pedal. Diantha? Yeah. When this unit is placed on rearguard from hand, specifically, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counterpass 1, choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop and call it to R. So really generic, there's no Lianorn specific things, so you can run this into other stuff, but it's ideal in this deck. And during your turn, if you have 2 or more grade 1 or less rearguards, this unit gets plus 5k. So as I said, 13k booster, really good, really helps hit magic numbers with your Creed Assault. And this can even call Creed Assault back. It has to be grade 3 or less. You can call Flutter Dragon, but you won't get its effect because once again it has to be called from hand. Same, you can't call another copy of this and call something else because they all specifically state from hand. Like if you want to call this with the grade 2 on the ride line, you won't get its effect. But 13k booster is always really, really good. So yeah, having the call as well, just especially if you want to call this and call something out that Tearful Malice is going to kill, pretty good. There's a load of helicopters going over my house today. Really frustrating. But we carry on. Next, 4 copies of Marching Debut Purity. This basically has the same second effect as Diantha. During your turn, if you have 3 or more grade 1 or less rearguards, this unit gets plus 5k, 13k boost. Once again, helps its magic numbers, helps make Lianorn massive. Just lots and lots of power is pretty good. Next, 3 copies of Lively Rhyme Biara. You can put this up to 4 if you want. It is a really good card. When this unit attacks, when the attack this boost unit hits a Vanguard, put a grade 2 or less from card from hand into soul and draw a card. So it helps you filter, helps build your soul. It has to hit though, frustratingly. They're usually going to perfect guard your Lianorn, so you usually want to call this to the left or right to have a second chance with it with your side column. So yeah, really good, but I only run it 3. If this was just when it boosts, then yeah, it'd be a guaranteed 4 of, but because it has to hit, it's a bit frustrating sometimes, so that's why it's at 3. But you can bump it up as well. You can really play around with your numbers on these grade 1s. But yeah. Next, 2 copies of the Double R from set 6, Assembler Smiles Emil. When this unit boosts, if you have another grade 1 or less rearguard, it gets 2k, so a 10k booster. Pretty decent. It's you ideally put this behind your Clapping Dragon, because then it's a magic number. Or you can just put it behind your Vanguard if you want to replace your plant token because you've got loads of spare stuff. And then if this unit boosted at grade 3 or greater Vanguard, which it'll always be doing, count boss 1 and soul boss 1 and draw a card. You don't use that a lot because you don't have the but if you have a load of spare resources, if you have built up quite a bit of soul or anything like that and you're a bit lacking, you can always use that secondary effect, but usually it's just a 10k booster, and the draw's there if you have the resources for it. Next for grade 1s, 2 copies of Stepping Clarax Salvia. When this unit is placed, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you may call a plant token to R. So just basically call it and you get a free plant token. If you're struggling for grade 1s, like I say, if you're playing against something like Baramagnus and your board's getting constantly put into your soul, really, if you're really desperate to build up that back row again, this is for that. Or if you just want to place this, call the plant token, and then it's easy fodder for Tearful Malice to get your resources back up if you're desperate. Or if you've used Tearful Malice, you can call this out and get an additional booster. It just helps you if you're against a certain matchup, or if you want to use Tearful Malice, get some resources back. Really good just for that. And finally for grade 1s, once again we're going to be running the Sentinel lineup. We don't run a grade 4, so we're going to be running Elementary Sanctitude, and then 4 of the your standard PGs that are free if you have one less card in hand. I just like the new art on this one as opposed to the one. So yeah. So for triggers, of course we're running the Over Trigger. Don't really think I need to explain that. Stockade Over Trigger, because it gives the front row 10k anyway. You're always attacking with your Vanguard first. If you want to run the Cryomental one, that also works because you just do it and you give both columns 1,000,000 power. But I kind of like the additional. You're going to give one of your other rear guards 100 million unless you're trying to break a 2 to pass or something like that, or they go OT to pass, then you finally hit it. But your front row still gets the 10k. You get the free heal, and you get an extra crit on your Vanguard if they took it anyway. So yeah, pretty good overall. I think I prefer this Stoichea one in this. We are going to run 4 draw triggers. You really want to be hitting your pieces. We want to build up advantage. So I think 4 draws is absolutely fine. We're going to run 8 crit. I'd probably highly suggest this for the cases you are really struggling for soul. And your other free crit has to be this card. I don't care. I'm not hearing any excuses. You're not running any other crit. It has to be this one. This one is the perfect little boy, and you will be using him. So thank you very much. And finally 4 heals. I'm just running the Tradic ones because aesthetically they match. And I like the Kiwi, but he's a little silly. If you want to run, obviously the effect heals, go for it. I've been looking at a lot of Japan lists and they seem to have dropping it in favour of anything else because the meta's kind of, I suppose in set 7 the meta's kind of shifted a little bit. If you're going to run one, I'd probably say something that if it's attacked twice, or if it's restood or something like that, you get the power, because nothing really is gaining extra crits that you need to be worried about right now. But a lot of people just like the base 15k shield over 10 with potentially restand. So So yes, that was my, where is she, Lianorn deck profile. There's a loads of things you can play around with. Like I say, you should be having the Maple as well. On the grade 1 lineup, I think there's a grade 1, what set's it from? I can't remember. I didn't have any, I was trying to find it. There's a grade 1, yes, Flourish Petal, it's from set 4. It's if your opponent has a grade 2 or greater, if your opponent's Vangaurd is grade 2 or greater, this unit gets 5k shield. If you want a bit more defense, but then you're not really going to be calling it, so I didn't like that right now. I wanted to build the deck so it's just like really powerful, a bit of advantage, and really trying to overpower the opponent as quickly as possible. So that's why I kind of made this kind of aggressive, kind of consistency-ish build for now. So I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Like I say, it's nothing is going to be major meta. You probably do decent at locals with it, but for now it's tier 2-ish, I'd say. But lots of fun. Let me know if you guys have built your decks any differently, or just use this as a good kind of base. Yeah, it's really fun. It's probably the one I'm most looking forward to playing, just because I used to play Neonectar a while ago and quite enjoyed it, but came off. But this looks fun. So yes, hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know what my next video is going to be now, whether I record some fights again or something else happens or comes up, we get new ban lists, or it might be some Deer Days content, because that is out as a recording less than 4 weeks, so really excited. I might stream some of that or do some videos, so I might do some testing with EX just to see how that works, do like a test stream or a test kind of let's play kind of thing. But yeah, obviously that will pop up, and I'll let you guys know about it anyway. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more. I'm so close to 1,000 subs, and then I can start making a little bit of money off my content, which will mean I have more stuff. Anything I kind of make, I want to reinvest into the channel, so it means I can do more box openings, I can make more content, do a lot more fun stuff. So please subscribe if you are watching. I very much appreciate it, and if you want to like or anything like that, that's appreciated as well. So thank you guys very much. I've been Ben from Vgblaster, and I'll see you soon. Bye.